Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about the hotly anticipated and widely discussed Emilia Perez, written and directed by Jacques Audiard, starring Zoe Saldana, Carla Sofia Gascon, Selena Gomez, Adriana Paz, Mark Ivanir, and Edgar Ramirez. And this follows a drug lord named Benitez who wants to get a sex change and leave his life of crime behind him and become Emilia Perez. And of course, Zoe Saldana is there as this lawyer who's kind of helping all of this occur. And Selena Gomez plays Benitez's wife initially. And that's all I'll really say, because this is such an interesting film, we'll say. Now, I've been hearing so much about this since its premiere at Cannes. It was one of the most hyped up movies at Cannes, and we usually don't get more than one or two contenders coming out of that festival, but it seemed like there was such a surplus of contenders coming out of Cannes this year, though I do think that and Honora have kind of emerged as the clear award frontrunners this season, much in the way that Anatomy of a Fall and The Zone of Interest were last year. And so, obviously, this is quite the international play, I think, this year in Best Picture and, of course, in Best International Feature, considering that this is directed by a French director, but is primarily in Spanish, and is such a bold take on the musical genre and so many other things. It's really a smorgasbord of all these different genres. Now, does it work 100%? No. This movie really swings for the fences, and a lot of times it misses, but I think when it hits, it is absolutely one of the best films of the year. I mean, this is really quite an achievement, I think, in a lot of ways. Now, I will say I got the opportunity to see this at the Paris Theater in New York, which was awesome to finally get to experience that. And when it comes to a couple of the musical numbers in the beginning of the film, I turned to my buddy and I was like, yeah, this is not making my top 10 of the year. Because, whew, there are some terrible musical numbers, some real stinkers, if I've ever heard them. And I think there were some scenes that are very comparable to the musical numbers in Joker Filet Deux. That might even be worse, which is a bold statement because I hated that movie. And obviously, I don't hate Emilia Perez, but a lot of that is what really holds back this movie from being one of my absolute favorites of the year. I really do mean that, because this movie is such a tonal clusterfuck. I'll be quite honest, because this movie is trying to do so many different things and does it to a varying degree of success, I would say. Now, even though it sounds like I'm coming out of the gate in this review quite negative, I don't really feel that way at all. Like, I really enjoyed Emilia Perez overall, and a lot of that has to do with the central performances in this film. Zoe Saldana, of course, has to be mentioned first, who is really great. Probably the best performance I've ever seen from her. A lot of people have been toting her to be the front runner for Best Supporting Actress. Now, I don't know if I agree on her as a winner, but even if she does win, I do think she deserves a nomination. At the very least, she's called upon to do a lot here. She's singing, she's dancing her ass off, she's crying. She really has so many emotional layers that her character has to portray on screen, and I think she does it beautifully. This is definitely one of the standout supporting turns that you will see this year, and so I will be happy to at least see her get nominated. And Selena Gomez is really great in this too, though I don't know if she's quite as nomination worthy. I think even though supporting actress is a bit of a barren field this year, I still don't know if she's going to crack the top 5, but I do have to commend her work in here because she is dynamite when she is on screen. But I think the true standout above all else is Carla Sofia Gascon as Benitez, and of course Emilia Perez, who is just absolutely phenomenal here, and I really do think that this is going to be a very well-deserved historic nomination, as she will be, and I say will be, the first trans woman to be nominated for an Oscar, which is pretty incredible, I must say. And so I think even in this movie there's such a transformation from her at the beginning of the film to where she ends up at the end. And of course, you know, having been a man in the past, you could argue, oh, that is kind of easy. But no, I do think that there's a lot of really great work done between those two focal points of her character, and to really make it believable is just so impressive. And I really love her character. I mean, it is her story, right? And I think what the movie is saying about her past and how that kind of conflicts with this new life that she's created for herself is really, I think, what makes this movie so thought-provoking and makes it work so well at its best moments. Because the conflict with Emilia Perez's story is so rich that I really do think that it is why you have to see this movie for her and this role. It is such a great performance, and I'm really glad she's getting all the flowers because she absolutely deserves them. And I really can't wait to see what she does next, because this is definitely going to skyrocket her into a lot of great roles, and I'm really excited to see what she does for the rest of her career. Now, the other supporting players are not as prominent, so I do think Adriana Paz is really great, though, in the scenes that she shares with Carlos Sofia Gascon. And Edgar Ramirez, he's a little underutilized, and I wish that he was, you know, a little bit more developed in the narrative. And that was my other big issue with this film, and why it wasn't quite as good as I'd hoped it to be, because there's so many interesting characters, and so many interesting conflicts they could have developed and explored, and a lot of interesting relationships that they could have elaborated on further that I really wanted to see, and would have made the extremely compelling climax of this film even stronger. And so I think in that regard the film could have been a lot better. I also think it's like very interesting because at one point it's like this Les Mis really off-putting version of that, and it doesn't really work quite as well, but there are some really compelling musical numbers that are very visual and very interesting from an editorial standpoint, but also the choreography is quite stunning, especially the one song that Zoe Saldana gets in the middle of this movie that I think everyone's going to be talking about. It's probably going to get a Best Original Song nomination as well at the Oscars, and I think that stuff really somewhat contrasts well with when you get to the third act and the movie turns into Breaking Bad. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. And I think just watching that third act, I was like, oh, this is like, has Vince Gilligan written all over it. It's like actually insane. But I think once you get to that third act, that's where it really works overall. And I think even though some of these do come together, it definitely feels a little disparate in the way it's being portrayed. But I also do appreciate, even though I don't think that Jacques Audiard deserves a Best Director nomination at all, I do appreciate the swings that he took with this movie. Because from a narrative standpoint, I think it does work overall in a very strong way. But yet again, there could have been a bit more to it. The finale to this movie, though, is just, my goodness, absolutely breathtaking. And because of that, and everything that I said early on, the performances, the core narrative of the central character, I think there's so much to chew on here. I think it is an absolute delight to watch after the first, 15 minutes or so. It really finds its footing in many other ways, and you really get wrapped up in the drama that's being presented in front of you. This is such an interesting film that I think needs to be watched. Whether you like it or not, I'd understand either way. I wouldn't understand you liking the first a couple of the songs at the beginning of the movie, but other than that, I really do think Emilia Perez is a special film. And do I think it should be one of the absolute top contenders at the Oscars? No. but I do think that it is going to connect with a lot of people. I've already been hearing that it's been getting, good reactions from people at home on Netflix. And, yeah, I mean, I really am excited to hear what people think about this film, because it is such a unique vision nonetheless. And, yeah, I'm going to give Emilia Perez a 7.5 out of 10. Definitely not, the juggernaut I was hoping it would be, but I still think it's going to be a huge awards player. It's going to rack up a lot of nominations. It's going to win Original Song, could win Best Supporting Actress. There's a lot of, Oscar packaging that could go along with this movie. I just hope it doesn't get, some of the biggest ones like Best Director. I think that there are so many other more deserving films that are more tonally consistent and honestly better directed all the way through. And so, yeah, but I am really happy that I saw this movie, and then I got to see it in 35 mil. I mean, that's not an opportunity I get, handed to every day. But hey, I was there, and I said, hey, we might as well do this. And I'm very glad I did. And let me know what you think about Emilia Perez down in the comments below. Is it one of your favorite movies of the year, or was it a big letdown? Just let me know, and please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more movie reviews like this. I'm obviously going to do another big Netflix movie when it comes out. Of course, that's The Piano Lesson, which should be here in a couple weeks' time. We'll see how that pans out. I'm very excited to see it. And, of course, so much more on the horizon. I'm trying to plan a very special video for next week, so hopefully that gets done and to you within that time frame. But please stay on the lookout until then, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Take it easy now.